Metaphor ReFantazio has only been out for a few days, and this brand new JRPG from Atlus has already been breaking records. We're diving into all that in this video, plus what the future of Atlus and Metaphor may have in store for us because of this success. But if you're having a great time with the game already, go ahead and cleave that like button, and I'd like to extend an invite to participate in my latest giveaway of Like a Dragon Pirate Yakuza in Hawaii, the upcoming title in the Like a Dragon series featuring everyone's favorite Yakuza madman, Goro Majima. Taking a break from the turn-based battles we've come to love in Ichiban's saga, this upcoming title harkens back to the roots of the earlier Yakuza titles, featuring fast-paced brawler combat, all wrapped around the fantastic Hawaii setting we got in Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth. If you're interested in this incredible franchise and are curious about a game dedicated to Majima and the pirate life that awaits him, feel free to participate in my giveaway of the deluxe edition of the game. All details are linked in the description. Alright, it's official, my friends. Atlus has done it yet again, as Metaphor ReFantazio has earned the distinction of becoming Atlus's fastest selling game yet, with sales surpassing over 1 million copies sold on launch day. This is an absolutely incredible milestone, as not so long ago, earlier this year, Persona 3 Reload made Atlus history for becoming not only the fastest selling Persona game at the time, but also the fastest selling Atlus game in its history by selling more than 1 million copies in its first week. Metaphor achieved this milestone in just a single day, which is an incredible accomplishment, seeing as Metaphor is a brand new game that does not carry the Shin Megami Tensei or Persona names in its title. This sales success is no doubt derived from the impressive marketing Sega and Atlus had with this title, along with the incredibly smart decision to make the game's 6+ hour prologue be a free demo 2 weeks ahead of the title's launch, which I hope Atlus will continue to do in the future to generate interest in their upcoming games. Couple that with the universal acclaim that the game has received from its review scores, and Metaphor was destined to become a huge success for Sega and Atlus. And I don't know about you, my friends, but I'm just so pumped that Metaphor is doing so well. I've been updating you all about this game for almost a year, and it felt like this game was just not going to have much recognition since Persona has just been completely dominating the discourse for a while. But I couldn't be more thrilled to see this new JRPG take off. Speaking of taking off, this game has been completely destroying all-time peak player counts on Steam among Atlus and Sega games, with the game amassing numbers north of 75,000 concurrent players, eclipsing that of Persona 3 Reload's 45,000 player peak and Like a Dragon Infinite Wealth's 46,000 player peak. 2024 has no doubt been one of, if not the greatest years for Atlus and Sega, with so many massive games releasing within the span of 12 months. With Metaphor ReFantazio now solidified as the third pillar to Atlus, it's incredible to see all three pillars release a game in the same year, with each of their respective franchises breaking their own respective records. We talked about how Persona 3 Reload was the fastest selling Persona game of all time, and we talked about Metaphor becoming literally the entire company's fastest selling game. But even the Shin Megami Tensei series saw its own fastest selling entry in Shin Megami Tensei 5 Vengeance, a completely overhauled and expanded version of the base game that launched a few years ago. With all three franchises absolutely killing it right now, I bet Atlus and parent company Sega are no doubt celebrating their success, and we should be too. These JRPGs are really the cream of the crop when it comes to turn-based JRPG greatness. And while I would also give a huge shout out to the Trails series for its incredible longevity and consistently awesome games, no doubt Atlus is the most visible player in the turn-based JRPG market right now, and these games' continued success is an undeniable win for all of us in my book. For those wanting a completely spoiler-free look at Metaphor ReFantazio, go ahead and watch this video detailing what the game is like with its myriad systems after the prologue ends. But let's talk about, again with no spoilers, just why this game is so successful and what Atlus and Sega can do going forward to bring such an enthusiastic and positive response to their games in the future. We discussed the insane marketing push for this game earlier, and while a ton of marketing for a game can definitely do wonders in promoting a new title, I noticed a massive spike in interest for Metaphor ReFantazio once the demo dropped. Demos can really generate a lot of interest here, and this one was absolutely one of them, as the prologue demo essentially introduced players to the game's opening moments, giving us the opportunity to transfer our save progress to the final release. This was an undeniably brilliant move on Atlus's part, as not only does it give players 6+ hours with their latest game to test out, but it also gives those unsure about this completely new franchise a risk-free opportunity to try out the game for themselves, seeing firsthand whether or not this fantasy Persona-like game would resonate. Because the marketing constantly beat into our heads with every trailer and lengthy showcase that Metaphor was being developed by an all-star team who worked on the past 3 mainline Persona games, it allowed not only Atlus and JRPG fans, but especially fans of the massively popular Persona series, to try out the game without dropping a single penny on it. And due to the success of this demo, I would be surprised if we wouldn't see future Atlus JRPGs follow suit. I mean, imagine a demo for Persona 6 and the amount of hype that would generate ahead of its launch, right? The hype would be through the roof. Final Fantasy XVI was another game that had a demo drop for it ahead of its launch, and while that game's sales weren't among the best for the series, that demo no doubt brought in players who were otherwise uninterested in picking that game up. Even looking back to 2018's Dragon Quest XI, with that demo getting immense praise before that game launched. The common denominator here is that all these games made use of save transfers to the full version, so I can't help but think, due to their individual successes, that this is what we'll see going forward for Atlus's upcoming JRPGs, with their next big release likely being Persona 6. Let me know in the comments if you think Atlus will continue providing meaty demos ahead of their upcoming JRPG releases, because I surely think they will. And mentioning Persona 6, we should also talk about Metaphor ReFantazio's divergence from the core setting that defines the Persona series, the high school setting, because I do think that while Persona's high school setting is great and all, that many fans of the series would have loved to have gotten a game from Atlus that is like Persona, but away from high school life. We essentially got that here with Metaphor ReFantazio, and while some of the characters are indeed quite young, like our protagonist, the transition away from the school setting and into a much grander fantasy world is what I think also contributed somewhat to some of the immediate success over Persona. Let me know what you all think about this in the comments, but do you think that some of the relatability to the characters and its outwardly political themes in Metaphor hit harder to you over those of the lives that we spend so much time with in the Persona series? I have to admit that, even while I'm still so much a Persona fanboy, that I felt like this new setting and much more diverse cast of characters, especially within the age department, felt incredibly refreshing and honestly gave me a game that I never really knew that I wanted. I honestly wouldn't think twice if Persona continued down the high school route because, well, that's Persona for you, but playing through Metaphor felt so refreshing in its departure from that setting, and I think the game tremendously benefits from that, as a singular setting greatly limits what we can see as a player outside of, say, Tokyo or Inaba. Here in Metaphor, we get to really see life outside of Grand Trad, visit the places where our diverse party members once lived and grew up, and see the story play out on a much larger scale. It's all really interesting to think about, again, coming from a huge fan of Persona, but let me know what your thoughts are on this in the comments. Now, this in no way takes away any of the hype I have for Persona 6, as I am more than happy to experience whatever that game has going on for it, and from the sounds of it, it appears like Persona 6 may be taking a bit of inspiration from Metaphor's grander world design, so if you want to learn more about the most recent rumors and leaks regarding that game, you can find me over in this video as we dive deep into Persona 6. But before you go, let me know in the comments if you're enjoying Metaphor ReFantazio, and if this game, in any way, makes you more or less hyped for the next Persona game. And I will see you all real soon in the next one.